Hey guys, Ryan Earnhardt from CreativeSoundLab.tv, where audio recording is an art form. Well, today we're going to be talking a little bit about some electronic music, processing sounds out of the box, using a delay pedal, using analog compression, really just kind of having some fun with sounds. I just downloaded the Eraserfase huge collection of drum sounds. It's like 68 drum machines that he sampled. It's totally unprocessed, and I don't know how many sounds there are, but it was a pretty sweet deal. Less than the cost of a meal at, say, Taco Bell. So I figured, hey, what the heck, I'll go ahead and grab it. And I just started having some fun with it. I want to show you what I did today, just about an hour's into a song that I was just kind of messing around with, and show you how I'm processing different things. Maybe it'll inspire you as well. So let's check it out. Okay, so really anywhere where I start in a song usually is maybe with the kick drum, or maybe it's a synth sound that I get inspired from. For this one, I was just kind of going through the kind of massive collection of stuff, just looking for something that really triggered some inspiration within me. And it was kind of the kick drum, and then it led to kind of the ticks and tacks and kind of hi-hat type sounds, and then snare, and then a tom from there. Let's have a listen to just the drum loop here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and solo a couple of the elements here. This kick drum was really the inspiration for me. There's something about the depth of it. Right now, it actually, the whole you could say drum bus of these 8 or 9 sounds here are going through a pair of Warm Audio WA-76s, and they're slammed pretty hard. I'll cut to a shot of that in a moment of exactly those settings. But let me turn off the compression just so we can hear the raw sounds of what it is here. So I'm just adding ticking sounds just to fill it out. So this was kind of my first stage of production, is just getting kind of something that sounds cool, okay? From here, what I did is, let's see here. I went ahead and started adding compression. So in Ableton Live, you can insert an external effect right in there. You can also do this in many other programs just by using an external out, going out to something, and then setting some inputs to go right back in. This is basically kind of like an insert, if you were to think of it in those terms. So we're able to insert whatever we like in the chain of things right after something, like an instrument, and then before something else. So here's a wet and dry of the dry sound and the compression. I'll go ahead and play you the dry, cut to a shot of the settings here, and show you really how these compressors are really kind of making the sound, okay? It kind of glues everything together. It kind of warms it up and kind of really makes it sound like a record. Let's check that out. Okay, from here, what I did is I decided I wanted to have some fun with some sort of analog delay element, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it, but I latched onto this tom here, and I really started liking what it was doing to that tom, and I got kind of lucky. But it was one of those things where you get something working, and you just don't want to mess with it. So here's that tom. Here's what it's doing here. So I'm actually sending it out to the analog delay. This delay is going into the top WA76 here, which is compressing it just to make sure that all the tonal differences of the it's called region on this, but really it's just kind of a feedback of that delay. It's the trail off. So there is a tonal difference in the second, third, fourth, fifth bounce of the delay. I like that. So I'm using the compression to raise up the level of the fourth and fifth bounce, for example, and you get to hear those slight shifts in tonal differences. So that's why I have a delay, then a compressor that's set very fast, very aggressively in all buttons mode. From here, I wanted to add a bass line, so let's add that in. So this bass here is sort of controlled by a few different factors, but the WA76 is actually really critical for the crunch. I originally thought, hey, I will use some sort of filtering to get kind of a wobbly thing, but I decided instead to use the filter to kind of thrust into the input of the WA76. So instead of using it as like a tonal thing, which it kind of is, but really the tonal variation is coming from it's not overdriving the input of the WA76, but it's using that trick where you're using a fast release, fast attack on all buttons mode, or a high ratio. It will also work. But all buttons mode is perfect, so I have it slammed fast as it can go attack, fast as it can go release. All buttons mode, it's getting about 20 dB reduction, the needle's slamming, and then I can feather how much overdrive I want on the peak of each pulse. So as it's adding basically a tremolo that is going, it's like a filter that's sweeping to a LFO, and as that is sweeping, it's pulsating, and it's causing an overdrive-like effect at the crest of that wave, and that's what's giving the tonal variation. So I can actually adjust it by the amount of the LFO applied to the filter, and then the amount of input. I can actually overdrive, the crest and the trough of that LFO. So I hope I'm explaining this in terms that make sense and that go across multiple genres. I know that the electronic folks probably have terms for all this stuff, and the rock and roll guys would call it something else. But yeah, let's check this out. See, we can hear that it's just getting the tops here. I turned it down. The volume is below unity on the input. if that means anything. But really, I'm just using my ears to find the settings that I like. It's about 10 o'clock. You can really see how it's not really catching the whole wave. It's not quite as smooth as I'd like it. So I could maybe lessen the amount and then raise this a little bit. And there's the bass sound. Okay, so from here, I decided, hey, I have a few minutes left. Let's add some tonal elements. So I grabbed another analog synthesizer here, right, in Ableton Live. Dialed in something very quickly, an auto filter delay. This is an old version of Ableton Live, okay? Still a great tool for making music, so you may notice some slight differences here. This is a pad that I developed here. Okay, so that's pretty much the rundown of using some pretty sweet samples that I just downloaded yesterday. Check it out, Eraserfase. It's a 68 analog drum machines. It's really reasonably priced. If you're into this sort of stuff, guarantee you it's going to be pretty inspirational for you. This is just a little bit about how I was playing around with it today, just having fun for about an hour or so. This is not a complete mix or a complete song by any means. And this is just some of my process here of just having fun with stuff. You really just have to play around with it until you find something. I will say that a lot of this stuff did go through EQ, the EQ PWA behind me, which is a Pultec style EQ. Just a little bit to bring out the attack of the tom, a little bit to take down the high end of the bass synth. And actually took out some of the lows of the bass synth as well. So just some minor things. But that was really kind of a rundown of kind of my first impressions of really the drum pack and just kind of having some fun with it. Let me know if you have any ideas for me that I should try next on this song, or if you have any cool techniques I should check out. I'll be hanging out in the comments below.